Yo everybody, what's going on? This is Keegan from Kman Reviews. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button. And if you have any opinions at all that you would like to share, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. Fireman. Yerself Is Fire. Fireman is the musical alias of fellow YouTube content creator, music reviewer, and all-around funny dude, Punk Revolution Now. He has shown a good bit of support for me and the channel on multiple different social media sources on several occasions. He is one of the homies, no doubt. I'm happy to have gotten to watch and support his content as a contemporary for the past year and a bit now. Also, go show him some support. Link to his YouTube will be in the description. This is not my first rodeo with Kyo's music. I had the opportunity to listen to his other alias, Joker Card's debut EP, and covered that in the January 2022 review recall episode. However, this is my first time with Fireman's music in particular, so I had no idea what to expect except for it being a bit of post-hardcore, which I was a bit hyped when I first heard that. But let's not waste any more time, let's just dive in. What are my thoughts on Yerself Is Fire? Let's find out as I review it track by track. We will start with the singles, with there only being one, with that being Death Drive with Julie, and this kicks off with impeccable groove. The bass is smooth, the drum pattern, while simple, is certainly effective. Kyle's vocals are interesting. They're not bad at all, however, it still feels like there's that lingering bombastic persona portrayed in his YouTube videos coming through here, and slightly takes away from the artistry. However, that could just be me being more familiar with that side of him in particular, so it's a bit different to actually hear him deliver a bona fide vocal effort. But regardless, he's got a captivating and unique voice, and no doubt couples well with the instrumentation, especially on the second half, which is much more brazened, more potent, and honestly more exciting with the slower percussion and heavier riffing. This refrain is awesome as well, by the way. The guttural, kind of unhinged vocals are much more satisfying. All in all, it rounds out to a good track. Now for the rest of the tracks. Opener Just Around the Corner features quite the moody, atmospheric, and certainly slow build on the first 3 minutes. Most of the elegant guitar work on display during this part has this ambient quality to it, but there's still a palpable intensity to its progression, especially right around the 2-minute mark when the acute plucking just gets that extra bit more menacing, escalating this build up more and more until it all comes to a head. Admittedly, not as loud as I would have liked. The instrumental that follows is still very heavy, but it just feels like it was reserved in place of the vocal shout that came along with it. That could have been intentional, that could have been a mixing issue, I don't know. It is still an appealing climax though, as the rest of the track ambles on for its last minute with growls, unsteady, angry vocals, and excellent percussion work specifically. What an introduction to the album. I Feel Like Dying starts off with this cacophonous, scratchy guitar noodling. Thankfully, that isolated noise doesn't stick around for too long and is joined by this killer bass line that brings the track barreling into these crashing drums and certainly makes for the most violent punch on the album so far. The guitar also cleaned itself up and provides a proper melody over everything else. Kyo's vocals on the track are great, they're frantic, high octane, they bounce very well off the rampant instrumental. The lyrics match this as well, depicting the intemperate emotional state of a growing youth, following diagnoses, an introverted lifestyle, substances, and plenty of anger issues, culminating with, well, the title of the song. I really like this one. Machine kicks off with this rapid pattering of this drum machine, I believe. It gives me pretty strong drum and bass vibes right off the bat, but then this smooth guitar lick and Kyo's quieter, kind of gravelly vocal tone make the track come off much more intimidating. Over time, this instrumental begins to evolve with more organic drum work and swelling riffs and vocals to burst on the chorus. One thing I do want to point out with this one is that I'm not the biggest fan of the vocal melody in particular. I do feel like this could be a growing attribute though, but there are some moments, especially on the chorus, where it just feels compact to an uncomfortable level. Emphasis is all skewed and it's just a bit jarring to say the least. Though to show some praise, I love the expressive vocals on the first bridge, and the second half as a whole is extremely exciting, with a bit of a breakdown at the 4-minute mark to introduce this sludgy, grimy outro that just continues to trudge on, but it makes for a very captivating way to end the track. All in all, not a favorite, but I could see this one growing on me. Gun Cure's Brain begins with this kind of cutesy, higher-pitched plucky guitar, almost has a little bit of a country twang to it. And speaking of twang, Kyo's vocals follow a similar path during those sections, and I do think the little inflection works well. Though the song does reveal a second face in combusted intervals with raucous guitar and slow, heavy percussion that eventually becomes the full track around 2 minutes in. It almost feels like doom metal in a way, and I really love it. Don't really have too much else to add about this one, but it is a favorite of mine. 25, however, is honestly one of my favorite tracks on the record. The first part of the track is pretty easygoing, a gentle, tame electric guitar motif ringing out as Kyo's vocals ring the same, with each undergoing this extremely slow build for the first 2 minutes until it all just collapses into a whispered ambience, only to spontaneously erupt into a true headbanger. There's just something in the fire of the riff and perfect pacing of the drum work. It's like the stars aligned to make this one of the most appealing climaxes on the record, with Kyle's more energetic and passionate vocal efforts only making the song that little bit better. Excellent track all around. And finally, the closer, OCD, the longest track here, close to 8 minutes, starting off with this sticky, kind of dirty bass line, snappy percussion, and a crunchy, staticky guitar fiddling in the background. Kind of just feels like an impromptu jam session turned to tape. Over time, that jam session begins to boil over more and more with denser riffs, but aggressive drumming, and Kyle delivering some excellent manic screams until it just dies right back down with this rapid strumming segment just to build it all up again. I absolutely love the journey this track goes on, shifting from the more unhinged moments to just pure headbanging ragers. Gorgeous way to end the record, and may just be my favorite track here. Overall, I had a great time with Yerself Is Fire. I think there's a lot of creativity to be admired here, the vocals are very engaging all the way throughout, and the instrumentation is eclectic, fiery, and gripping. If there's one fault I can muster about this record as a whole, is that some of the production does feel a bit cloudy, which could absolutely be an off-putting quality, but I can usually overlook it even if it does get kind of bad on some of the later tracks on the record. But despite that, I did enjoy my experience with this album. I look forward to seeing where this project goes next, and I'm hoping the next album is even better than this one. I'm feeling a 7 out of 10 on this album. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.